Well, let's return to the shooting of the right-wing influencer Charlie Kirk. Joining me now is Brendan Cox, the husband of Jo Cox, a Labour MP who was killed in 2016 outside her parliamentary constituency. Brendan, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Your reaction to what happened in the United States and the shooting of Charlie Kirk?
I think it's the same that's shared by everybody, which is just revulsion at this attack. It is incredible that we are seeing this again. This is not an isolated incident. The rise in political violence in the US, in particular, over the last few years, has been dramatic. There were obviously the attempted assassination of now the President Donald Trump. There was the actual assassination of two local Democratic leaders. Now you've got the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And the thing to remember first and foremost is who these people are and what they leave behind. Charlie had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. And it is horrific to see, it is absolutely horrific to see that is something that is happening more and more often in the US. And I think it should fill us all with revulsion.
Brendan, no worries if you don't want to go here, but you must have unbelievable sympathy for Charlie's wife and children right now and the extraordinary challenge that they have ahead of them.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing that when these things happen, it always comes first to my mind. And I think the awful thing from this is that I think they were there. I think that the kids and the wife were at the event. So not only will they have to explain what has happened to those kids, they'll have the trauma of that moment, the fear, and it is incredible that anybody thinks this is a way of proceeding. Now, obviously, we don't know who did this. We don't know if it was a political motive, but I think people would highly suspect it was a political motive. But whatever the motive, just the human suffering that this has unleashed for that one individual, and then you ladder that up to their family and their friends, and then more broadly, you think about what impact does this have on the already teetering state of American democracy? I think if there is a positive out of it, it will be the country coming together in the US and people from all political backgrounds and none saying the same thing, that this is completely unacceptable, that this is not the way that you conduct politics, that this is counterproductive, that they condemn without any qualification what has happened. You know, in the aftermath of Jo's murder, there really was, I think, a common sense of revulsion right across our politics from left to right here. And that did do something. It did send a message about the acceptability, well, the non-acceptability of violence in our politics. I just hope that you'll get that same sense of unity and common purpose in the US. And I'm worried that might not happen.
And Brendan, there have been conversations now, of course, around the security of not only political figures, but public speakers too.
Yeah, and I mean, that is I think in the US that is even more dramatic, obviously, than it is in the UK because of the sheer availability of high-powered firearms and the fact that anybody can go and buy one, and therefore it becomes much easier. You know, not only do you have the motive from some people, and particularly the political polarization and the dehumanization of political opponents increases the number of people that are motivated to act. You've also got the opportunity, because you've got the availability of those weapons, which thank God we don't have available in the UK. So I think it is if you're in politics, if you think, again, no matter what your politics, if you're in politics in the US now, you wake up and your family will wake up this morning and they'll be worried about you. They'll be worried about you going to work. And that, let's be clear, that's also happening in the UK. It's not as bad. We should be clear on that. But all my friends who are in politics are worried. They are worried that something else could happen, the same that happened to David Amess, the same that happened to Jo. And of course, we need to improve the security. We need to make sure that MPs have got the security that they need. We need to make sure that people in the US who might be engaging in politics have the security they need. But what really needs to change is the culture. We need to make sure that this dehumanization, the sort of the shrill level of our political discourse at the moment dampers down a little bit, that we use these moments to come together, to remember what we've got in common and change the discourse in our politics, because it's that drives those extremists.